I'm Neil Norman. I work with a firm of chartered accountants in Edinburgh called Chiene Tait, a firm that I think are well known to many of you, and hopefully to more so by the end of this presentation and going forwards. We do a lot of work with startup companies, and we are right in this space. When I was thinking about how to introduce a 10-minute slot on tax and make it attractive to the audience, which isn't a given, let me assure you, I was interested to what they were here, interested to hear what was being said, and the lack of introduction to SEIS. And then all of a sudden, my good friend popped up with an absolute nugget. SEIS is of considerable value, and I'm going to walk through it in just a couple of minutes. But a wee hook. There's 101% tax relief available for investors under SEIS. This is the number that's been branded around. It's not for everyone, and hopefully it's going to be expanded in just a second. A quick slide on what I see are a few tax reliefs that are available in this sphere. This is a very rough and ready knock-up of my experience of a tech company, particularly life cycle. A company might be spun out from university, or it's been spawned from a great idea, and it goes looking for angel investment. That investment is available commonly, exclusively, if SEIS or EIS relief is there, and I will come back to that. But when we get past that stage, the investment's in, the company can start developing. There's R&D tax relief. The R&D tax relief, just 30 seconds on this, 125% uplift in costs is available to companies, SMEs, if they're undertaking R&D tax relief. To put that into real terms, for every £1 spent, there's a £2.25 tax deduction for those costs. Or, and this is the part that's most interesting to lots of startups, you can surrender those losses for a quarter of the original cost. So for every £1 spent, you can surrender those losses and get 25p back from HMRC. Another 30 seconds on patent box. This is brand new legislation. This was enacted just 3-4 weeks ago. What it is in a nutshell, if you have a company with a patented product, subject to qualification status, you can have a 10% corporation tax rate on the profits of the exploited patented product. Now, it's quite a complex set of legislation, but that's it in a nutshell. R&D tax relief, you can see 125% uplift on costs. Patent box, 10% corporation tax rate. So you can see, you can virtually get through a tax neutral period for a company. And then we come to exit, and that brings me back to SEIS again. But as I said, the main focus of this quick 10-minute chat is on SEIS. SEIS is brand new legislation also. It also was enacted just a few weeks ago. 2 wee tables. I'm not going to walk through them all, just want to dwell on a couple of things. Income tax relief under SEIS is at 50%. Capital gains tax relief differs from EIS, which will be well known and long established with many of you, in that for this year only, and this is Brendan's point, SEIS, we hope, will be around for many years. But where it's time sensitive, and where I suggest you may want to be thinking about it quickly, is under EIS legislation, if you've got a capital gain, you can shelter that gain for the period that you hold your new investment. So if I sold something for £100,000 and I go and buy an EIS qualifying share, my £100,000 gain that I would have had to have paid capital gains tax on, I don't have to pay tax until I sell the share. SEIS is different. For this tax year only, that gain is exempt and will always be exempt from tax. So if I've sold something and I've made a gain, I will never pay tax on it. SEIS is really for micro entities. You can see in the bottom table the investment limits. SEIS, £150,000 in total. It doesn't sound very much, but it can be absolutely critical at seed level for startups. And once that's been received and spent, it's possible to roll forward and qualify for EIS. So, 101% tax relief. How does this work? A wee example. if I invest £100,000 today in a company which qualifies for SEIS, I'll receive income tax relief of £50,000. That's provided I had to pay £50,000 of income tax to HMRC. Let's suppose I have. Let's suppose I've also got a capital gain, which I would have had to have paid 28% capital gains tax in this year. I don't have to pay that anymore because it's exempt. So I've just saved another £28,000. So the tax reliefs available to me as an individual, if I invest at seed level in an SEIS company, are £78,000 up front. Well, 78% of the cost of the investment to me, effectively underwritten by HMRC. Now, hopefully, my investment will do really, really well. The company will go great guns and will sell for millions. If we do, my gain is exempt from capital gains tax. But, realistically speaking, lots of companies at a startup level don't make it. And if it fails, there's another tax relief available. Say it fails next year. I've already had £50,000 of income tax relief on my £100,000 investment, but there's another income tax relief that can come in. And if I'm an additional rate taxpayer, which next year will be a 45% tax rate, my remaining £50,000 can be relieved at that tax rate, which comes out at £22,500 tax relief I'll get next year. So the total tax relief I'll have received on my £100,000 investment is £100,500, or roughly, round it up, 101% tax relief. Now this is getting investors excited, and this is, in my experience, driving demand, as you'd put it, for seed companies. It's not for me to suggest that with this 101% tax relief, an investor can choose to invest in anything they like because their investment's underwritten. But practically speaking, it is. All things being equal, if you have an investor who's an additional rate taxpayer, if they have a capital gain, and if they're likely to be an additional rate taxpayer next year, or the year after, or the year after, HMRC are, in effect, underwriting the entire cost of that investment. Now, this is sounding exciting, and I hope it is, because for me it's tax, I love it. And you want to talk to us, please come and see us afterwards. There are a number of people from Chiene Tait here. Can I embarrass them and ask them to stand up?
Yes, thank you, Neil.
Welcome. There's about 6 of us here, I think. We will be in the breakout area afterwards. We will be in the break, after the seminar finishes too. If you don't make it to see us, or you would like to follow up, please, the details are on the board. Be in contact.